So I'm so excited to share this video with y'all because it's one of my favorite topics, how to make international friends abroad. Now I'll cover all budgets, from needing no money to circles of memberships that cost upwards of $10,000 a year to join. So stick around till the end of the video. Now I'm not the most social person in the world, right? And I've still been able to make friends all across the world, in places like Berlin, Switzerland, Hong Kong, Bali, Australia, Mexico City, Medellin, and so many more places. And I'm currently based in New York. Now why would you want international friends? As you can imagine, visiting those places will be even more fun, right? Because those friends that I have, they'll take me to the best local spots, they'll introduce me to their friends, and even if they're busy, they're gonna give me some great insider tips. And of course, when they visit my city, I'm happy to do the same thing for them. Now before we get into a list of items that have worked, I'll mention one thing that hasn't worked, and it's just being in hostels. Now hostels are great for partying and meeting new people, but I haven't made any lasting relationships from those experiences. I've had plenty of legendary nights in hostels, right? Like places like Rio de Janeiro, I remember being there for 7 days in a hostel, and we just had the legendary time, like parties and experiences and New Year's Eve and skinny dipping and all these things. But a lot of those friendships and connections I made were very transient, and that's totally okay. Now let's get into a list of the things that have worked really well for me. Number one, events that bring international crowd. Now for me, I'll just talk about one specific event that has changed my life, and it's just going to Burning Man. Like, it's an event basically in the middle of the Nevada desert. It currently holds about 70,000 people at the end of August. Now, I've gone 4 times now, and I've met so many incredible people. And the event is just full of amazing things, like just a huge open space, has plenty of workshops, art, costumes, partying, music, and so many more things. And now, having gone 4 times, I have plenty of friends from Europe, from Latin America, and from other places around the world. On top of that, I plan on going to South Africa for Africa Burn, which is a sister event of the original Burning Man. And also there's just so many other similar regional Burning Mans. Like there's one in Israel, there's one in Berlin, and just so many places around the world. So that's something to consider. Now, if you identify with a different demographic, then great. Find your specific audience, your tribe. Maybe it's software engineering or design or an influencer conference. The world is your oyster, and there's just so many amazing events out there. Number 2, we have online interest groups like Facebook groups and meetups and things like that. So I'll give you my personal experience. I was in Bali in 2017 and I kind of felt lonely. And there I found an Acro Yoga Facebook group, and I basically joined, and I had events every week. And I made tons of great friendships from that I still keep till this day. And this specific interest group, Acro Yoga and Yoga, there's a Facebook group for each of the major cities. So you have Acro Yoga New York, Acro Yoga Singapore, Acro Yoga Berlin, and so on. So whenever I'm in a new city, I just look up on Facebook if there's a group for that, and there I might have an opportunity to make some new friends and just enjoy myself. Now there's plenty of other interest groups, right? So you have like hiking, maybe you're into dancing, you could be into tango, salsa, capoeira, and so on. Another interest group is entrepreneurship and digital nomads, so you could find those on Facebook. So for example, I'm going to Mexico City and Medellin, Colombia, and I just searched on Facebook Mexico City digital nomads and Medellin digital nomads, and I found very active groups, and they host weekly events and so on. So I'm really excited for those, and I've done events in places like Bali, Lisbon, and so on. It's a little bit of hit or miss, but definitely check it out. Number 3, we have Couchsurfing.com and a shared Airbnb room. So I'll give you my personal experience. In 2016, I basically rented a room in Airbnb in Hong Kong for a couple days, and I just had an amazing experience with the host. He took me under his wing. He basically showed me all the best spots. He took me out with his friends when he was hanging out, and so many other things like that. And I still keep in touch with him until this day. So if you have an opportunity and you find a great listing online with basically a shared apartment where you have a specific room that you're renting, take a look into it. And if it has great reviews, consider booking it. And the other website, we have Couchsurfing.com. Now basically I did this when I was a broke college student at 19 years old in San Francisco. I basically booked a few places in Couchsurfing.com. And overall I had a very positive experience. And one of the best parts is that I just get to share basically an apartment, an experience with some of the locals. And the 2 people that hosted me in California, I still keep in touch with them till this day. Now I have some friends that are very religious about this, and they've used Couchsurfing extensively, and they made tons of different friends across the world, and they've had amazing experiences, and they've saved a lot of money because you basically don't pay on Couchsurfing when you are interested in a room, right? So basically a host agrees to host you for free on their couch. Maybe they have an extra bed or a room, and in return you just help them however you can. Maybe you cook a dinner for them, or you share some of your travel stories. So I'll link all of this in the description, so keep this in mind if you're in a budget, if you're interested maybe in a no-frills kind of travel, and just open to whatever and open to crashing people's places and just basically saving a lot of money. Number 4, we have private groups and conferences. Now I'll just mention the ones that I'm really familiar with, which are centered around entrepreneurship, right? So number 1, we have Dynamite Circle. So they're about $500 a month, and it's basically a network of entrepreneurs around the world. So they host events in places like Bangkok, Mexico City, and other places around the world. Now I'm not part of their network, but I've heard really good things about it for the last 5 years, and I have 2 friends that are in it now, and they say really good things about it. If you want to find out more about them, go to tropicalmba.com. Again, I'll link that in the description. And they also have a Tropical MBA podcast in which they talk about entrepreneurship and international travel and freedom and other things like that. Now the 2 other private groups are Baby Bathwater and Maverick. Now this is more for established entrepreneurs, and there's criteria to get in. For instance, for Maverick, I think you need like $1 million of revenue per year, and you need to be a founder of a startup or a company. Baby Bathwater has also rules to get in, and they might be a little stringent, but still you need to be an established entrepreneur. And you basically meet a few times a year in all parts of the world with other top entrepreneurs. Now the cost for these is quite expensive. I don't know the exact prices because there's like membership fees, and each time you go on this trip, it'd probably be a few $1,000s. You know, these memberships can be upwards of $10,000 a year. So basically you need to make a considerable amount of money in order to afford these. But it's something that I look forward to doing in the future once I make a lot more money.
Yeah, boy.
However, if you're into different interests like yoga, blogging, sports, other things like that, there's private groups for those as well. And I'm sure they're all in different price ranges. You just have to do your own research. And so the last one we have number 5, and it's basically study abroad and graduate programs. Now if you're considering graduate programs, look into INSEAD and London Business School. They're 2 of the best international schools. INSEAD is a campus in Singapore and Fontainebleau, France, and London Business School is based in London. Both of these schools are really strong brands and they provide great opportunities after you graduate. They're both something I was highly considering when I was doing a career switch when I was about 24, 25, but ultimately I personally decided to do programming. And then for undergraduates, please consider doing a study abroad program. It's probably my biggest regret of not doing it when I was in college. There's plenty of affordable abroad programs available, but you will have to do your own research to make sure that your credits align with the school you're in. So these are my experiences and my 5 tips, but I'm curious to hear about yours, right? Like leave in a comment description if I left something out or if you have other experience. I'd really love to know. So thank you for listening and have a good day. See ya. Psh.